Hello, can you guys hear me? Hi, boleh dengar tak? Hello. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about this book, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And this book is regarding the story of successful people in the world. And basically, most of the time that we look at successful people, right, the story being told to the public is how hard they work, how smart they are, how talented they are. But in this book, the author Malcolm Gladwell, right, he want to convince us we need to look beyond what are all the, you know, uh, we need to look beyond all these successful people. Is it only being hardworking, then you will be able to achieve success? All right. How that this book started by actually the author came across a research, all right, by a group of people found out that the death rates from heart disease in this small little township, Roseto, Pennsylvania, in US, right, is so much lesser than the average in US. Hello, Benny. Hello, Shalini. Yeah. So, and he realized, and the group of researchers actually done a research and on their diets, on their exercises, on their community, and they found out the people still smoke. The people there, they don't exercise so much, and in respect of that, they still eat very oily stuff and food with a lot of high carbs. So and it's and after all the research, and they found out that the reason why the peoples have a very low heart death rates from heart diseases, right, is because of the community itself in this area. So when they walk past the roads in this small little township, Roseto, Pennsylvania, in US, right, people are being very friendly. All right, people are being friendly and they talk to each others. And if the family is having a dinner in their house, right, it's multiple generations and they are actually living very peacefully. And the stress that happenings outside of the world, right, it seems like it has nothing much to do with the people right here. Okay, so hence why the people here, they are living in a very less stressful community here, and all of them are being very happy. All right. So hence why it triggers the author to seems like, actually being healthy, right? It's not so much about eating right, and not to say eating right will lead to all right. But what I mean is even a very less stressful community, right? You could live longer, happier, and less diseases. And the death rate from the heart disease is so much lesser compared to the other area in US as well. So the author Malcolm Gladwell, he want to do the same research, same uh, uh, convincing works lah, and regarding the success of people. Okay, so he want to look at the successful people in the world is regarding they are being very successful. Is it just because of they are being very hardworking, because of the talents, because of their IQ is very high? So hence why this book is born. All right. So what does outliers mean? People do things out of ordinary. If you speak to scientists, right, outliers means out of their experiments, there is a certain sample, a certain things that is the results of it is so much different from the rest of the samples. Okay, so in this book, in these sessions, we are going to talk about the genius, business tycoon, all right, and the world class violinists, how did they achieve world class, or how they become successful? Is it because of their talents? Is it because of their IQ? Is it because of their hard works? Or what are the things that what are the hidden advantage that leads them to being very successful in life? And when we talk about successful person, right, most of the time, people only care about first, what kinds of personalities that these successful people have. All right, what's their IQ? All right, are they being very smart? What are the lifestyle they have? Do they wake up very early, sleep very early, and then they start working at 5, start working at 4, and then they work non-stop, 16 hours per day for straight 7 days for the entire multiple years? What kind of lifestyle do they have? Or they actually living a very comfortable lifestyle? What are the special talents they have, special gifts they have? Most of the people, when they are doing reports, or when they are talking about a successful person in life, right, these are all the things that they care about. But most of the things that people neglect to talk about, or even the successful people by themselves, right, they neglect to talk about the hidden advantages that they have. All right, what are the extraordinary opportunities they have throughout their journey in being successful? Is there any cultural legacies? Right, cultural legacies mean the things that are being inherited to them in the from their ancestor, or from their grandparents, or from their culture itself. Okay, so first we're going to talk about opportunities. And first thing first, I want to let you guys have a look at this. It's one of the hockey teams in US. It's called Medicine Hats Tigers. I didn't watch hockey, but the points that are being brought out by the book itself is very interesting. Okay, guys, check it out. These list of the players, and I want you guys to check, is there anything strange here? Is there anything that you guys found that it's so unusual, it's very abnormal? Hello, CK. I make it bigger so you guys can see. All right. Can you guys see this? Is there anything strange that you guys managed to spot? Hi, guys. Not their weights and not their heights. Check out their birth dates. Is there anything that you guys realize, or do you guys manage to observe? They are almost same age. Yes, correct. But anything else? Yongxiang, yes, you're right. Date of birth. What's so special about their date of birth? Date of birth as in their age range. Okay. Yongxiang almost got it right. Okay. So if you guys look at the date of birth, right, for all the players here, you can realize that most of the players here are born in January, February, March, and April. The players that got into the top team are born in January, February, March, and April, and very less after May or June. It's very less. You guys know why? Reason being is when the cutoff date for the team, all right, to actually accept players, the cutoff date is when the child reach the age of 10 years old. Okay, the cutoff date is when they reach 10 years old. CK February. Yes, I know. Okay, so the cutoff date is when you reach 10 years old, right? Okay, 1st of January is the cutoff date. So the people that actually born in early of the year got advantage compared to the rest of the people that born later in the year. Okay, so when when the car race kicks in, right? If you are born in 1st of January, you have the advantage to being recruited into the team to get trainings, all right. And if you started early, you have more practice time, and then you're being coached more than the people that join in later. All right, when you start playing it young, the people that join in later or start training later, right? It's so much you are so much further ahead from them. Okay, so you can also look at the authors also show the list of players of Czech Republic national junior soccer teams in 2007. All right, being start practicing in January and start practicing when you are in a December, September, October, right? The people that start a few months or 12 months earlier than you, right, have so much advantage over you as well. Hello, Xingwei. Okay, so this is one of the hidden advantage that being born in early of the year. Okay, talking about the professionals athletes lah. Okay, so what does the story of hockey and early birthday says about success? For those who are successful, are most likely be given special opportunities that leads to further success. Okay, so in this case, is you are born earlier. Okay, so since we are since we are young and studying in primary school, we all know that the A students, those that score very good in exams, they always get the best teachers and most attention from the schools, right? So the people actually get very low scores and low grades, and the teachers being assigned to teach them are almost less qualified compared to the first or second uh, uh, grade the classes are in school. Okay, so the author is saying that success is the result of cumulative advantage, and a little difference in head starts leads to bigger difference ultimately. All right. Okay. So next, the author also talked about these 10,000 uh, hour rules. Okay. So check this out. Okay. To achieve world class solo violinist, okay. So since the age of 5, they start practicing for 2 to 3 hours. So that's about 30 minutes per day, 2 to 3 hours, 30 minutes per day. And in order for you to achieve first class, world class levels, right? So the hours that you play will also grow according to your age as well. By the time you reach age 9, right, you have already start playing 6 hours per week, okay? And 8 hours per week when you reach the age of 12, 16 hours when you are from 2, okay, age 14. And then by the time you are in college, right, you are actually playing 30 hours per week already. And by the time you reach 20 years old, most of the world class, okay, players, they have achieved at least 10,000 hours of practice. Okay, they have achieved at least 10,000 hours of practice. So in order to become the expert in particular fields, particular industry, right, you need to achieve 10,000 hours of practice in doing the things that you do. And in your entire life, it's very difficult for you to have multiple industry. Okay, most of the peoples, they mostly can focus or specialize in 2 to 3 industry, because spending 10,000 hours of practice in one particular subject, right, is also very, very difficult. It takes years. It takes years. Okay. So I was also doing this. Okay, in order to become a very, very good sharers, I also practicing these 10,000 hours of practice. Okay. So what are the difference between world class and the normal players? What are the different guys? Do you guys want to guess what are the difference between world class and normal players? Do you guys want to guess what makes the world class and what makes the player side why they couldn't achieve top level? What's the difference? Do you guys want to guess? Is Zoom macam got more response, or if Facebook Live is a little bit more difficult to type the comment, is it? Do you guys want to guess? CK said handsome and pretty. Benny said 坚持. The training they go through. Should I say mindset? Yes, definitely mindset. Okay, discipline. Yes, people at the top, they work much harder. Guys, are these the answers that you've been told since you are young? Are these the answers that you've been told since you are young? People at the top, they always work very hard, and it's not so much of other things, but it's because of their work really hard, and so that they become world class. Wow, Wong Chuan, you are a person of tremendous foresight. You know to be friends of Zisong, then you will achieve world class. Oh, that's why since young you become a friend of with Zisong. Not bad, not bad. Okay. All right. So yes, working hard is the bread and butter. It's like basic. If you want to become a world class, definitely you have to work hard. All right. Not in respect of anything that you do. Definitely work hard is the bread and butter. It's a basic. But the question now is, if you are only merely working hard, is that enough to become world class in the things that you do? This is the next question that we need to think about it. What do you guys think about it? Do you guys think working hard only is enough to achieve world class? All right. So most of the time we are being told that you need to work hard. You need to work hard, but a lot of things are being untold. All right. Imagine if you want to become the world-class solo violinist, right, in the world, you need to have a very supportive, rich parents. Imagine if you are born in a very poor family, all right, would your parents being able to support you, spend a huge amount of money, all right, to send you to undergo a series of trainings, all right, expensive tuition fees. Most of the time, if you are being born poor, sometimes you need to help your family in supporting the families, right? And it's very difficult to, being a very have a very long hours of practice in that environment as well. All right, but if you have a different environment, if you have a supportive parents, right? All right, parents would send you to undergo a training with a very established uh, uh, coach, all right, to coach you throughout times, and then expensive nature versus nurture. Okay, Shalini say practice. Okay, so these are all the hidden advantages for those that are successful. But these are the things that being untold or neglect to be told to all of us. Okay, so okay, next, genius. All right, genius in the internet era. So Bill Joy. Before reading this book, I don't know who is this guy, but it's the person's. Do you guys know what's Unix and what's Java language in the computer programming coding's language? Java. This is the guys that actually revamped the entire programming language, Java and Unix. And he also one of the pioneers, one of the main, most main contributors to form the internet in the world because of his coding. Okay, so but yes, he's very talented. He's very smart. He has a very high IQ, but is that all that leads him to being very successful? Okay, Bill Joy has the net worth of 1.5 billion, and but what are the hidden opportunities that he has since he's young? First, he got into University of Michigan. All right, University of Michigan in that time, right? They bought this time sharing system computer, one of the newest computer in that time in 1970s. All right, so the computer that the university bought into the university for the student to use, right, is the newest at that time. And the good things about the the university is they opens a computer center 24/7, and Bill Joy has the opportunity to actually stay in the computer center, all night long to do its programming. All right. Since then, it leads to more advantage and opportunity for him to become who he is today. Okay. So next, the Beatles. All right. The Beatles are they are from Liverpool, but they achieved a huge success in US. Okay, so how does they reach 10,000 hours of performance before they become so successful? Have they actually reached 10,000 hours of performance before they become a hit in US? All right, so um, before they went to US in 1964, okay, Paul McCartney and John Lennon's the soul of the Beatles. They actually played together for 7 years. All right, before they formed the team, they actually played together for 7 years already. And before they went to US in 1964, right, they under the opportunity got invited to play in strip clubs in Hamburg, Germany. All right, when they're in Liverpool, they're only being got invited to play 1 hour per night, maybe per week or per month. But if they went to Hamburg in Germany to play, right, they could play 7 to 8 hours per night for 3 to 4 nights straight. And they could actually stay there for 3 to 4 months and they'll be performing, 7 to 8 hours per night. So by the time they decided to move to US, all right, to continue, they have actually already reached 10,000 hours of performance. And at that point of time, right, there is no rock and roll clubs in Germany or in Liverpool. There's only strip clubs. If it's not because they are willing to actually perform in strip clubs, they couldn't achieve the success that they would have gotten at that point in time. All right. And before they become so good in their performance, right, they have done at least 10,000 hours of performance, right, in strip clubs in Germany itself. Okay, so what about Bill Gates? Bill Gates is dropped out from Harvard and started Microsoft, and we all know he's one of the wealthiest person in the world. Okay, but Bill Gates is born in the family formed by wealthy lawyers, and also one of his mother is one of the very established bankers in San Francisco. Okay, and he's being sent to a private school Lakeside. This private school, Lakeside, right, it's only caters for the elite family in San Francisco. All right, and so happens that the private school has enough funds, enough money, right, to form a computer clubs, all right, in 1968, where not many schools at that point in time have the capability to form computer clubs at that point in time. And they also purchased the newest computer invented in 1965. All right, that give Bill Gates a very great head start, and it gives Bill Gates a very competitive advantage compared to all others peoples in at his age. Not okay. at that point in time, not many schools could afford to actually purchase a computer in 1960s. All right, and let alone the schools, the computer fees is very, very expensive at that point in time as well. Okay, so these are all the hidden advantage and the extraordinary opportunities that Bill Gates gotten when he's young. Okay, so Steve Jobs at that when he's young, right, he actually live in Mountain View, California. This is the center of Silicon Valley, where the neighborhood is formed with a lot of engineers at that area. Okay, so the flea markets of this area, like they are selling spare parts of the computers, and then so since young, Steve Jobs has the opportunity to go to the flea markets and then check out all the spare parts of the computers or electronics devices that form his passion to actually develop a computer operating system when he's older lah. Okay, and one of his neighbors is Bill Hewlett. This is the HP founder. So when Steve Jobs is working on his computer, he call up Bill and then ask for the spare parts. So imagine if you are interested in fashion and while you are growing up, one of your neighbor is say Giorgio Armani. So this is what Steve Jobs is actually experiencing when he's young, when he's growing up. Okay. All right. So we have done talking about the opportunity, extraordinary opportunities that the successful people have since they are young. Okay. So next, we are going to talk about having high IQ. Does it lead to your success? All right. So this person, Christopher Langan, he is one of the highest IQ in US ever lah. I think his IQ is 195, 195 to 210. Okay. But when since young, okay, Christopher Langan's his score, all right, everything in regards of exams, everything's in regards of academics, right? He definitely gets full score. But at the end of the day, he's just a very normal he owns a horse farm, and there's nothing much very astonishing achievements being done by Christopher. Okay, so the next questions that we're going to discuss is, does having a very high IQ has anything to do with your success? Okay, yes and no. First thing first, there's one professor in Stanford done a research. He called it termite research. He has gathered 250,000 high school students, all right, and identified thousands of them, all right, ranging with IQ 140 to 200. And then I want to identify these groups of people with high IQ, right? Can they be successful in life or not? This project actually lasts for quite a while, all right? More than 10 years, okay? At the beginning of the project, right, the professor launched a book called Genetic Studies of Genius, and he quote, "There's nothing about an individual as important as his IQ, except possibly his moral." So, like many others as well, they put a very, very high emphasis on a person's IQ. If you want to become successful, and if you have a very low IQ, right, it's impossible for you to be very successful. That's what their point of view at the beginning. All right, that's their point of view in the beginning. But if we have gone through so much until right now, we could, all right, understand that being successful is not so much about your intelligence. All right. So the author here asked one question. If I had the magical powers and offer to raise your IQ by 30 points, do you think it will help you to become successful in the world? Okay. And yeah, it's nothing much about being very intelligent in if you were to become very successful. Okay. And there's a research shows that if your IQ is more than 120, the extra point in your IQ doesn't translate to any advantage for you to become successful. Okay, meaning when a group of people, their IQ level more than 120 is already, right? The extra points in IQ, right, doesn't translate to any advantage for you to achieve successful. Okay. All right. IQ is like heights in basketball. Okay. If even you are not, like very high, the highest person in basketball, you could also achieve success. Okay. Michael Jordan, after all, he's 6'6", 6'6" only. Okay. So having a very high IQ doesn't ensure your success in business or in your life. Okay. But at the end of this research, when all these geniuses, all right, grow up already, become adults already, they tend to earn good incomes, but normal lah, okay, normal lah, not very very gain kind of income. Okay, so they also have very ordinary career, and surprisingly, a number of them, right, those people being called genius in the early age, and when they reach adulthood, right, surprisingly, a number of them actually had a few careers. Okay, and no Nobel Prize winners, and some of them actually work for Nobel Prize winners as well, and some of them even got rejected working for Nobel Prize winners as well. Okay, and in their fourth volume of the research, their published research books, right, they already removed the word genius to name all these people. Okay, and they conclude intellect and achievements are far from perfectly correlated, meaning to achieve success, intellectual or intelligence have nothing to do with it. Right? It's not related at all. Okay, so meaning to say, then it leads to the next question. If intelligence doesn't ensure success, or it doesn't have anything to do with your achievement and your success, right? Even though you're being so smart, then if you are smart, how to be very successful? Okay, hello, Mei. Okay, so the author Malcolm Gladwell actually suggests one of the very, very important things is what we call here is practical intelligence. What does this mean? It means you know what to say to whom. Okay, what to say to whom. Okay, and knowing when to say it, and knowing how to say it for maximum effect. Hi Mei, why your friend so handsome? You guys all come kacau one. Mei, you're talking about me, is it? Thank you, thank you. Okay, all right. Practical intelligence. Actually, most of the genius or most of the high intellectual person, right? Have you guys actually encountered sometimes when we speak to them, right? Sometimes it's a little bit awkward. Or sometimes, when we are studying in university, right, some of the professors, right, they're so good in their subject, they don't know how to teach. And so awkward speaking to them. And if you happen to go to a dinner with them, right, it's so awful to actually speak to them. Okay, all right. So, but how does a children develop practical intelligence? Okay, how does children develop practical intelligence? we have to be social savvy, right? So if a person being social savvy, you know how to behave when you are at public. You know how to speak to people when you are at the very new environment. You know how to blend into the culture. You know your adaptability is very strong, and you have no issues mixing around with people. And when you go to an event, you are fine. You won't be standing alone, being very awkward, and you know how to handle a situation well. Okay, we call it social savvy lah. All right. And compared to the children from these two family, all right, the children being born and raised in wealthier family and children being born and raised in poor family, all right, compare these two people, guys, what do you think, who are more social savvy? And if they are more social savvy, right, why they are more social savvy compared to the other? All right. So how many of you guys think that the children being born and raised in wealthier family, right, they'll be more social savvy? If you guys agree that, can you guys put one in the comment? And I'll need you guys help as well, guys. If you guys think wealthier children that are being born and raised from wealthier family, right, they are more social savvy, why is that so? Okay. Ding, ding, ding. Why do you guys think the children that are being born and raised from wealthier family, right? They are more social savvy, meaning they are fine to mix around with people. When they go to event, they are fine, all right, and they don't have any issues adapt to a new environment. And when they go to meet up with new friends or new people, right, they are being they're just being themselves, very natural. But unlike the people from the children from poor family, they are not that social savvy. Shani said mindset and exposure, yes. Imagine if uh okay, the okay, the wealthy parents, like the way they raise their children compared to the poor parents, right, we didn't discriminate and we didn't judge, it's just for discussion, the way the kids are being raised are totally different. How many of you guys agree that? If you guys agree this, can you guys type 5 in the comment? How many of you guys agree that the way, all right, wealthy parents raise their children compared to the uh, poor parents, the way they raise their children are totally different. And do you guys want to share with me, what do you guys think? How does it different between these two family? Okay, so, and if okay, if the children are being born in the wealthy families, right, the parents actually spend more time with them in actually creating more exposures to the children. If the parents are in a wealthier environment or wealthier positions, right, they would bring their children to go out for dinners, and maybe sometimes there's some events to attend, and in respect of healthcare, in respect of social well-being, right, it's actually well taken off. And wealthy parents, sometimes will send their children to attend some summer classes, or for example in Malaysia we'll send them to private tuition classes and send them to learn music. And the children are being exposed to a lot different things in life. But compared to the children in poor family, they are not that uh, lucky, and they are just being confined to their small village, small kampong, or small environment, and the exposure for them is not that high. Yeah, I'm from Kota Baru, Kelantan, where I came to study A level in Subang SF15 Taylor's University, right? When my English that time wasn't that good, and when people are making jokes with the lecturers in classes, right, I couldn't comprehend what they are talking about. And I don't know what's Zara, I don't know what's Forever 21, I don't know what's the difference between Topshop and Topman at that time. I was wondering, Topshop and Topman, are they the two different brands? You know, a lot of brands I didn't know about it. I was like, having Nando's was so amazing. Okay, and a lot of different things. I don't know what Subway selling, a sandwich could be so expensive at that point in time, because back in Kelantan, buying a sandwich or buying a roti is like 1 ringgit or less than 1 ringgit at that point in time. Okay, all right. So if the question now is, if we are not born in wealthy families, right, what you could do, is that the end of your day? If you are not born in a wealthy family, is that the end of your day? All right, answer is no. No one could ever make it alone. Especially in this era, you need a community and environment to shape your success. So if you want to achieve something, don't do it alone. Do it with a group of people, or at least you have a environment or communities that are actually very supportive. And no one's even though you are a professional, even though you are a professional athlete, even though you are a businessman, right, that it is kind of impossible for you to make it with a one person company. Culture shock. Yeah, Shalini. Okay, so this come to the last points of our sessions already, and in the successful people, first we talk about the opportunities, hidden advantage that they are being neglect to be told to the publics. And most of the times when we talk about successful people, we only care about what are the personalities, what are the characters, how smart they are, and then what's our lifestyle. But many was like hidden advantage or extraordinary opportunity are being untold to us, and many people don't actually wasn't being informed. And second things that uh lead people to success is their cultural legacies. What does it mean? Meaning the cultures that you are being raised, your religious, your the families or the cultures your your community cultures, say let's say Chinese culture, Indian's culture, Malay culture, a different kind of cultures that being instilled to you since you're young, and the way you're being raised, these culture have already instilled into you so deeply that shape your success in the future. Okay, so this is the plane crash, all right, by Korean Air Flights in 1997. All right, so you guys might be very uh, surprised, or you guys might be thinking, hey, why am I showing you this plane crash when we talk about the cultural legacies in ensuring a person's success, right? Stay tuned. It's actually it's related, definitely. Okay, so this plane crash caused 228 people died. I think it's a surprise, 20 plus people doesn't die. Okay, so the percentage of the plane crash in American Airlines is 0.27 per 1 million departures. All right, meaning 1 in 4 million flights will crash. Right, if you have take 4 million flights, only one of them has the probability to crash. But Korean Airlines at that point of time, right, the percentage is 4.79 per million. It's 17 times higher compared to the American Airlines. So at that point in time in 1997, right, Korean air flights are it's so terrible in the sense that the some of the companies has already banned their employees are taking Korean air for their works. All right, and also a lot of government authorities actually ban their executive from taking Korean airs at the point in time. Is that bad? Okay, so I want you guys to actually we will be actually post-mortems what happens that caused this plane crash. Okay, at that point in time, there's bad weather, okay, and the flight is flying from Colombia to New York. And because the weather is so bad, the flight was delayed for 1 and 15 minutes for landing, meaning this flight has been flying on air, waiting for landing for 1 and 15 minutes, 1 hours and 15 minutes, that long, right? Imagine we're supposed to land at 9 p.m., but eventually we only landed at 10:15. We have to wait for 1 hours and 15 minutes just to land. Okay? And at that point in time, the autopilots of these planes was malfunction, and first engine failed, second engine later also failed, but all this doesn't matter one. Meaning, in the normal circumstances, right, even though all these things happens, the pilots are being trained well enough to handle all these incidents, and they could successfully land the plane right and safely, and no one will ever die, and plane crash will never happen. But most of the time, plane crash happens is because of human error. Okay, so let's look at the conversations between the captain and the first officer, and also with the air traffic control. Okay, so when they are actually landing, they couldn't see the runway because the weather is so bad and the fog is so thick. They couldn't see the runway when they tried to land. So they pull up the plane and try to make the second landing. Okay, but because they have been flying, waiting for landing for 1 hour and 15 minutes already, right? This plane has run out of fuel. Okay, so out of all these causes, all right, out of all these incidents, right, when they do post-mortems, what is the main cause that this plane crash, right, is because they run out of fuel. No more fuel exhaustions. All right, none of this matters because all the pilots are being trained to handle these incidents well to make sure the plane landed safely. All right, so after post-mortem, the real cause of this plane crash is fuel exhaustions. Okay, so let's look at the conversations between the captain and first officer before the plane crash. Okay, so captain said, "Tell them we are in an emergency." Then first officer tell the air traffic control, and usually the first officer is the persons that actually communicate with the air traffic control at the airports in New York. They are flying from Colombia to New York. Okay, so first officer here say, okay, then let's strike to 180 on the headings, and we'll try once again. We're running out of fuel. Captain told first officer to tell the air traffic control, we are in an emergency. This is the things that the first officer told air traffic control. Okay, and the air traffic control, right, when the pilots told them they are running out of fuels, they always heard these, they heard this all the time, right? They heard this all the time because even though the plane is running out of fuel, right, they could still continue going for quite a while. All right, unless you tell them you are in an emergency, then they'll treat it differently. Okay. Then the captain asked, what did he say? The first officer said, I already advised him that we are going to attempt again because we now can't landing lah. Okay, so 4 seconds of silence has passed, and the captain advised him we are in emergency. The captain repeat again because at that point in time they couldn't see the runway, meaning they couldn't see the runway to land. All right, they couldn't see the runway to land. They tried to uh, land, but they couldn't see the runway. Then they pull up again and try to do the second attempt of landing. Okay, then the captain asked the first officer again, do you tell him? Okay, first officer said, yes, sir, I already advised him. But what did the first officer actually say? That's all. Okay. First officer doesn't convey the true message to the air traffic control. If he would actually convey the true message to the air traffic control, right, the air traffic control would have arranged them to land first and advise them better in how to, handle the emergency, things like that. Okay, so and then the first officer, okay, talk to the air traffic control again. Okay, he's still going over the routine details. 150 maintaining 2007 car 052 heavy. Actually, I don't know what does it mean. I think this is the heights or something like that. I don't understand what is this as well. But the captain is clearly at the age of panic already. Captain told first officer to advise air traffic control, we don't have fuel. The first officer get back to the radio and then say, climb and maintain 3000 and we are running out of fuel, sir. Okay. And captain asked again, do you advise that we don't have fuel? First officer, yes, sir, I already advised him. And this is from air traffic controller. They are running out of fuel, right? No more fuel already. And the air traffic controller still asked them to, go 15 miles further. When they reach there, turn them back, and then only landing. And the air traffic control actually asked them is that okay for you? And do you feel do you have enough fuel to do this or not? Then the first officer answered, I guess so. Thank you very much. At this point in time, is that the captain and I were going crazy already. Okay. And then captain asked, what did he say? But it's obvious that actually captain doesn't listen to what's being communicated between air traffic control and the first officer, because first officer has a responsibility to actually liaise with the air traffic controller. Then the first officer answered, the guy is angry. And when I read through this, right, I was like, oh my god, what is this first officer is doing? Okay. And later, the real Shalini also angry already. So, okay, the reason, okay, do you guys know why is this happening? Meaning said, if I'm the captain, this incident won't happen. Yes, I was going crazy already. Okay, do you guys know why is this happening? The first officer came from Colombia. Meaning said, no, you should be the first officer. Yeah lor. Okay, too bad I'm not the pilot lah. Okay, the first officer actually came from Colombia, and the culture of Colombia, they have a very high like they are being very polite, and if they speak to their boss or their authority, right, they have this practice of being polite. Okay, and they call it mitigated speech. Okay, when they speak to someone that has higher authority to them or their bosses, right, they always practice this mitigated speech, right? Meaning they go slightly softer instead of actually convey the right message straight to the point, because they always thought that straight to the point or just direct, right, it seems very it seems very rude. It's really very unpolite. It's like you doesn't respect your authority, you doesn't respect your boss. Okay. And and yeah, so this is one of the Shalini, you're saying ego. This is one of the reason why, when the first officer speak to the air traffic control, right? Because first officer, he thought himself is not the at that level yet. So when he speak to the air traffic control, right? Air traffic control the persons, right? As though as they are their authority or their bosses. So these first officer, because he's being born in such culture, the tolerance of this mitigated speech in their in his community, in his culture, in his village, in the place that he's being raised, right? That's how that's how it works, that's how they speak to each other. Hence why, and in Japan also very, very serious. Hence why he doesn't know how to speak to the air traffic control, and he doesn't know how to convey the right message to the air traffic control. And the disaster of this is it has cost 228 lives because of mitigated speech in the Korean Air history. All right. So right now, Korean Air is one of the best airlines in the world. So the first things that they change is first a series of training that get rid of this mitigated speech for all their pilots, and the communication between the first officer and pilots, right? It has to be improved, and they have to get rid of this mitigated speech, and the English proficiency has to be improved as well, because the captain is Spanish. They don't speak the English is not that well. Hence why the captain, when the first officer communicate with the air traffic control, right, he don't really understand. He even asked the first officer to inform the air traffic control to translate what being said in Spanish to them as well. So, all right, and the transformations that are being done by Korean Air has led them to become one of the best airlines in the world. So yeah, so in order to become successful, we also have to actually take notes of in the book it's called cultural legacies, the cultures that are being inherited to us, and we need to raise our awareness, and we have to really identify whether this is a good things or bad things, and in which way we should actually avoid it, and in which way, whether how we should improve it. Okay, so these are all the points that are being brought up by the author Malcolm Gladwell, and I hope you guys enjoy these sessions. And what do you guys think about these sessions? Do you guys enjoy this session? If you guys think this session is helpful, give me 555. All right. So is there anything that you guys want to share with me? And what do you guys think about this? Is there any interesting points that you guys have came across tonight? For me, after reading multiple books, right, I understand that actually being successful is not so much about your um um your talents, your special gift that you're being born with. Most of the times, people call the genius is because they have spent tons of hours of practice in doing the things that they do, and it has been actually confirmed by a lot of different authors, and all these different authors is just saying the same thing in different multiple ways, and they are they actually put in a lot of different points to actually support their saying, and Yeah, so no matter how you are being raised, where you are being born, and what culture you are in, what community you are in right now, you have the uh you have the power to actually decide ultimately where you will be at the end. All right. Even though we are not being born with hidden advantages, extraordinary opportunities, but we can proactively create it and achieve the same success compared to the people that actually enjoy this hidden advantage and also extraordinary opportunities. So when people tell you that this guy is so smart, so successful, and he achieved tremendous success, we need to actually look beyond all these things and actually identify what are the causes that lead them to success today, and we can actually copy that. Okay, so not just understand, hey, this guy is working very hard, but dwell deeper and ask deeper, actually what are the things that cause them to be very successful today. Ask deeper. Okay, Shalini asked, how long do you take to finish one book? I actually, this book, right, is about 300 and all right, 340, 50 pages lah. But I actually finish it in 2 to 3 days. But reading books for myself, understanding is very fast, but if I were to do it to share, right, I have to read it multiple times, because reading for my own understanding and reading to share is totally different level. If you read to share, right, the comprehensions of understanding is so much deeper, and you could actually understand way better. Hi, Wei Qin. Hello. Okay. So, I'm trying to say is, yeah, if you came across a successful people, right, don't just ask, hey, how many hours do you actually do calling, or how many hours do you work per day? But ask something that what are the hidden advantages? What are the uh extraordinary opportunities that you are being given when you're young, or when in the journeys that lead to your success? What are the things that actually leads you to? Is it because of your parents? Is it because of a leader? Is it because of a mentor? Is it because of the environment or the surrounding, the communities that you're being on? Is there any particular program, courses that you've gone through that lead you to success today? So oh yeah, how that how do you manage your time that you can read so much and still do so many things? Hi, actually, right now also didn't do much things lah. At home only ma. Every time when you wake up at 5, right, from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., you will have an extra 5 hours time. If you could maintain these, and then by the time FMCO is lifted up, every day you will have extra 5 hours time. So the period from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. is like a one block. Then 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., right? These are the time when most of the people just wake up. And then, there are a lot of miscellaneous things that you need to handle. But if you were to wake up at 10 a.m., the first thing that you do is handling all the miscellaneous things. And then by the time you finish handling the miscellaneous things, right, it's almost lunchtime already. And then you have to continue your day at 2 p.m. But by the time 2 p.m., you are very tired already. But if you start the day at 5 a.m., right, by the time you finish the most important things that you want to do at 10 already, right, you will actually finish one block of time already. But do this more often. I cannot read books. Do you take noon naps? Sometimes if I lazy, right, I wake up at 5, right, then I meditate. Sometimes I meditate, meditate, very tired. I want to continue sleep. Then I sleep, right? But as I said, change is very difficult at the beginning. And then it's very messy in the middle, but gorgeous at the end. So when you're forming a new habits, right, it wouldn't be perfect one. It's very hard for us to have a perfect routine. So sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, sometimes you're lazy as well. Sometimes I'm lazy as well, and sometimes I didn't actually work from 5 to 10. Sometimes I know wake up at 5, and there are occasions I wake up at 5, double tahan and really tired and continue to sleep. Also got, but if you could maintain it and then form habits and then eventually waking up at 5 a.m. is so natural and it's not that difficult at the end of the day already. Um, Wake up at 5 a.m., sleep at what time? I try at the beginning I try to sleep at 9. Then now I try to sleep at 10. But sometimes with company meetings, right, I cannot sleep until 11 or 12 a.m. So if I sleep at 11 or 12 a.m. and that's the next day, I'm having such difficulty to actually continue to stay awake after I wake up at 5. Pity Lucy, wake up at 5 and continue sleep. Yeah, lor. He always 每次都是醒来5点，然后就要吃东西先。他醒来5点了之后就要吃东西，然后他吃东西了之后他就回去继续睡。每次他醒来，他以为他有东西吃嘛，所以我就要还有，因为他的习惯就是每次他醒来，我们就要给他吃东西。唉，很闷啊，大家。好了，我们今天那一个 COVID-19，Hello，玉芳，哇，很久没有见到你哦。想要你们现在在哪里啊？哇，我们的这个 book sessions 过后变成聊天了。那个今天已经变成17,000多了。OK 啊，大家加油。OK，我们越来越多，17,000，本来15,000已经很夸张，现在17,000，然后过后就变成20,000了，大家加油啊！好了，So 今天的 Facebook Live 就到此为止了，拜拜大家。